Hello guys, this is TheMightofGeburah back again with another Bumblekast mini. This one was pretty fine. Ian Flynn answered a bunch of questions, though I feel like for some he didn't quite understand it, but it's overall fine. Be sure to subscribe to my other channel and enjoy the recording.
It's a Bumblekast mini, sponsored by The Might of Geburah.
This first question comes from my friend at Super Blue Lightspeed. In the Archie comics, Sonic had a sort of chaos factor, as in he would prevail no matter what. This was treated as a cosmic punchline. Game Sonic had a similar thing going on, like in Secret Rings, where Sonic was fated to be sacrificed by Eraser, but Sonic lived and defeated Eraser. Sonic even said that he can shake off any fate in the Japanese version of Sonic and the Secret Rings. Given that, does Game Sonic have a similar factor too? Think about it this way. The factor that Archie Sonic had, being the embodiment of chaos, was basically plot armor. Does Game Sonic also have plot armor?
I mean, in a meta-contextual sense, yes. He's the main character.
His name is on the franchise, and they're probably not going to kill him off. At least not permanently.
Yeah, no. He, in that regard, yeah. But not in the same way as Archie Sonic did.
True.
That whole chaos factor thing that Eggman came up with was kind of us lampshading that plot armor in a kind of a fun way. And as much fun as it made sense at the time, I do worry that folks take it too literally. And that's why I hesitate to apply it to mainline Sonic, because I don't want his heroism and ability to be chalked up as actual cosmic circumstance. That's just the nature of his character. That's the trope. He will defy fate, and he's just cool and skilled enough to achieve it.
Right.
Now, if you want to rationalize that in your own headcanon is, yeah, that's basically the same thing. It is that chaos factor in everything but name. I can't really argue against it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like official acknowledgement, no, they're not conflated.
All right. So, Ian, you've said zones are not lore aspects, but Sonic himself mentioned zones in the Japanese Q&A when mentioning things that the Time Eater affected. Every place he had been, according to him. Meaning they are locations, dimensions, spaces, and areas. And why I call them dimensions is simple, because zones and areas were referred to as other dimensions in a comic strip made by Sega. So who told you they weren't a lore aspect? I mean, do you still feel that way after what was shown?
That was decided by Izuka-san in a live meeting in English, before anybody says Ian misunderstood the intention. I'm going to assume that the Japanese material that you're referencing was referring to zones as, Green Hill Zone, Chemical Plant Zone, the stage, the place that was affected by Time Eater, kind of blurring that line. And that is the brand just now starting to reach a homogeny and direction.
Alrighty. After watching the Tales tube and listening to Tales say that in the multiverse anything is possible, I thought of something. In Sonic's multiverse, since anything is possible according to someone as smart as Tales, who's been researching it, that means, or at least implies, everything's possible and all possibilities, example, possible things like worlds, and claims exist and or exist in other worlds, trivialism and possibilism, and that there's no limits to them in the multiverse, whether it be the quantity of things, size, extent, concepts, culture, history, background, knowledge, possibility, and etc. Ian, do you find this agreeable?
That line was purposefully written as vague and open-ended as it was, so that if that's how you want to take it, you're free to do so.
Makes sense to me. What is just one of the possibly many definitions of the universe across the Sonic multiverse? Can it be said it's like the regular definitions, like everything that exists, and another definition can be the totality of existence?
Sure.
All right. Easy enough. Do the concepts of reality and the concepts of universe exist in Sonic's multiverse?
Clearly, yes.
I'm going to say no.
Well, you're wrong.
I know, but I'm still going to say no anyway.
Well, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, good. I mean, there is the possibility that there are no possibilities.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. It's
Hmm.
gotta bake the old noodle.
Hmm. So it was covered that dimensions in Sonic are like buckets, and that everything else and every other concept can fit into or fits into. Can the same or something similar be said for space and spaces in Sonic? What about time? I recall the end of time, obviously time, being a tunnel realm that leads to other dimensions and possibly other concepts of time, denoted by clocks that Sonic and the Time Eater flown into. Places like the white space was able to contain things while being aspatial, no space. And the null space could contain things other than nothing, even though the whole point was that it was nothing. The fourth dimensional space from Sonic Shuffle just being a dream made by the Illumina that contains other spaces and other dreams.
I have completely lost the thread on this question.
Are there? I don't know, man. Do rooms exist in Sonic? Do spaces? Does space exist in Sonic?
If the concept of space, like the relative position of things to each other, yes,
What
that's
about
how games work. You move from point A to point B.
what about time? Does time exist in Sonic's world? I'm not sure it
Sure,
does. I'm not sure it does
spend
actually.
10 minutes and Sonic dies. I mean, that clearly shows that there's time.
I'm not sure it actually does though, because I mean he never ages.
Sure, he does. He just doesn't show it, except when he does. Don't think too hard about
He's 15 going on 15.
it.
And his past
After a year and a half.
his past version, his classic version is also 15 somehow. I mean, yeah, he's like, yeah. There's no time. There's no time, Ian. We got to keep going. I'm also being asked, isn't classic Sonic 12? No. I'm pretty sure he's 15.
Yep.
This is why they don't have the ages anymore.
Yep.
Oh boy. My friend Mirror Scaling Ninja asked this. Is Sega discussing the true timeline of Shadow the Hedgehog? Like the game or the character?
Well, the kind of both, since it's Shadow's journey through his own game, but to my knowledge, no. And it's not really necessary because there's one true ending.
It's the one where Shadow says, "This is who I am."
I mean, it really does defeat the purpose of the branching paths that there is one actual ending that doesn't sync with any of the pathways you can take.
Yeah, I know. Outrun doesn't have a canonical path. Why does it have Shadow the Hedgehog? Silly. I know it sounds like a dumb question, but does Sonic's multiverse account for things like bubble realities, possible worlds, many worlds theory, etc.?
I don't know. I doubt it.
What about bottle episodes? No?
You can't hear me, but I'm just shaking my head.
I figured. Are there multiple emeralds and multiple sets of emeralds? This is a strange one, but becomes understood when you realize that Sonic games like Sonic Spinball are canon, which has multiple emeralds, and those emeralds are a different set from the ones in Frontiers. Also, the emeralds in Sonic Battle were all green.
Yeah, that's lack of brand consistency. There are only 7 emeralds.
Except when there were 14. But we don't talk about those anymore. Oh, and the Master Emerald, which is separate from the Chaos Emeralds.
Okay.
Even though they're connected.
That was an inaccurate statement on my part. There are only 7 Chaos Emeralds.
Okay. The emeralds are the server. Yes. I got it. What about the Soul Emeralds? How many of those are there?
There are only 7 Soul Emeralds.
That we know of. Is the Master Emerald's not a Chaos Emerald?
I guess not.
Interesting.
I mean, it was from Earth, and the Chaos Emeralds are from ancient land.
Good old
I don't
ancient
know.
land, my favorite planet. Okay. All right. Do Light Gaia and Dark Gaia represent opposites? Like, Light Gaia is good, Dark Gaia is bad, Light Gaia is light, Dark Gaia is dark, Light Gaia is white, Dark Gaia is black, Light Gaia is day, Dark Gaia is night, Light Gaia is yang, Dark Gaia is yin, and etc.?
Yes.
All right. I'm not so sure. What kind of gods exist in Sonic's world? I'm talking about the actual deities and incarnations of nature, after the things of nature and or higher reality. Solaris is time and the sun, also a superdimensional being. Light Gaia is light, Dark Gaia is dark, and there's the actual Gaia from the Sonic Unleashed mobile game, who is the earth, and etc. Do more of them exist out there? Like, are they out there, but we just haven't seen them yet?
Possibly. That's the thing about gods. They're very hard to confirm. So if Sega ever wants to have Sonic fight another god, JRPG style, there are plenty of elements to be had there.
I mean, there's Big, the cat.
What?
I think he's the one true god, to be honest with you.
And you shall have none other before me.
Exactly. You shouldn't. I mean, I certainly
the
don't.
Alpha and the Omega. But not that Omega.
No. Might as well be. Is Dark Spine Sonic almost as strong as Super Sonic?
Hard to say, because we don't really have a good one-to-one comparison. We know that Eraser Gen's final form is a big godly entity, but we really don't know. There's no direct comparison between the World Ring's power and the Chaos Emeralds. Like, the World Rings can shape the world of the book, to be clear, but the Chaos Emeralds also show that they have some degree of reality-altering abilities. And does the world of the book amount to the same degree of reality as reality? It's probably very simple to say, sure, they're analogous, but there's no way to actually get down and prove it with anything remotely close to facts.
So if anyone picked up the book that Sonic happened to be sucked into and read that book, would they be reading the telling of the game Sonic and the Secret Rings?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And when he left that world, would the book then revert back to its original state?
I don't know.
Interesting. And would that mean that every copy is affected, or just that specific one that he got sucked into?
I don't know.
These are interesting things to think about that they will never address. It will never happen. So with the multiverse in Sonic established within the Tales Tube episode, would you say that other Sonic continuities can be included within it? You've always interpreted the Sonic continuities being parallel universes as a rule of thumb, so what's your take on that?
I think it leaves the door open to that interpretation if you want.
Yeah.
If you want your favorite incarnation of Sonic to be validated by that episode, then there you go. I'm not going to correct you on it.
This is indirectly acknowledging the many different versions of Sonic that have existed throughout the last 3 decades, is what I got from that Tales Tube.
It does not mean that they will be acknowledged or utilized ever again, but if it makes you sleep better at night to think that they still matter and still exist to some degree, there you go.
Yep. Are the Sonic Channel novels canon? And if so, where do they take place in the timeline?
I consider them to be where they fit. They fit somewhere in between Sonic Adventure and Sonic Frontiers.
All right. No, but none before that, huh?
Well, I mean, we can get into more particulars, like Sonic has to know Cream, so it's after Advance 2.
Okay.
And he's returning to Apatos, so it has to be after Unleashed.
They need to figure out They need to do some classic novels. Let's do that.
Captain Whisker is dead, so it has to be after Rush Adventure. So that does narrow down the window a little bit, but it's kind of in the same nebulous space that IDW kind of currently exists in.
Where do they take place in the timeline? Yes. If Rouge got together with Shadow, would Blaze be a good fit for Knuckles? Boy, I feel like some Silver fans would be real put out by that.
Maybe I could see their attention to duty and tradition being a common factor, but I think they're more married to their jobs than they are to anything or anyone else.
Pretty much. Pretty much. All right. Well, that's all we got.
Yep. Thank you to TheMightofGeburah for sponsoring this Bumblekast mini. If you want one of your own, head over to patreon.com/Bumblekast, Ko-fi.com/Bumblekast, or become a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the Bumblekast.
Bye. And scene.